Hi, good evening. I'd like to welcome you to Poem Praise 2, and I do thank you for tuning in. We are going to get right back into the great African American women. We are now on Mary McLeod Bethune. And here is a picture of Mary. You see Mary? There is Mary right there. And the time period for Mary is 1875 to 1955. And it has most influential African American woman. So without further ado, let us go ahead and go into, I believe, take one. We possibly could get this done in one take. It may take two. But let's go ahead and get into it. It goes like this. Now, educator, civil and women's rights leader, advisor to the United States President's government official, humanitarian. Mary McLeod Bethune probably ranks as the most influential African American woman in her country's history. It was she who helped to initiate the Black Pride movement in America. Look at me, she often said. I am black. I am beautiful. Mary Jane McLeod was born near Maysville, South Carolina on July the 10th, 1875. My. No, I'm just looking at July 10th because see it that resonates with me regarding she was born. And I have a child that was born on July 10th. All praise is due to Allah for that one. Oh, go God. Okay. On July 10th, 1875. She was the 15th, wow, of 17 children of Samuel, McLeod of African and Indian descent, and Patsy McIntosh McLeod of African heritage. Her parents and most of her brothers and sisters were former slaves, freed by the Union victory in the Civil War. By the early 1870s, the family owned a small farm land. Through her parents' help and encouragement, Mary acquired a good education. She attended the local Trinity Presbyterian Mission School, Scotia Seminary, later Barbara Scotia College in Concord, North Carolina. And in preparation to become an African missionary, the Bible Institute for Home and Foreign Missions, later Moody Bible Institute, in Chicago, Illinois. However, after graduating from the Institute in 1895, she was extremely disappointed to learn that Presbyterian Mission Board would not assign an African American to Africa. Yeah, you heard me right. Disappointed to learn that the Presbyterian Mission Board would not assign an African American to Africa. You want to call it that, but okay. We're going to keep it moving. Education pioneer. With her first career choice close to her, Mary turned to teaching, beginning her career at the Presbyterian-sponsored Haynes Institute in Augusta, Georgia, where she observed the work of the school's founder and principal, Lucy Laney. She soon came to see the education of black students as the most important factor in improving the lives of African Americans. While teaching at the Presbyterian Kendall Institute in Sumter, South Carolina, the young educator met and married Albertus Bethune, They had one child, Albert. The marriage was not a happy one, and they were together for only about 8 years, though they remained legally married till Alberta's death in 1918. In 1900, Mary McLeod Bethune established a Presbyterian parochial, parochial, P-A-R-O-C-H-I-A-L school in Palatka, Florida. Hopefully I said that correct, y'all. From 1902 to 1904. She operated an independent school and offered social services in the same city. Then in October 1904, Bethune founded the Daytona Educational Industrial Institute, a school for black girls in Daytona, later incorporated with other towns as Daytona Beach, Florida. Over the next 2 decades, her efforts to build the school brought her to national attention. Bethune based her institute on a traditional mind, hands, heart program. Academic instruction was initially offered only by up to the 8th grade. But in 1911, a nurse training course was added, and after World War I, the curriculum was extended to the high school level and included teacher training. Hands-on vocational education included sewing and the production and preparation of food. The heart was enriched through religious study as well as outreach programs, such as community holiday projects. The girls also benefit from observing Bethune personally as a role model. She insisted on desegregation seating at all the institute functions, organized local blacks to vote in 1920 despite threats by the Ku Klux Klan, and offered young black females the tools to make a better future for themselves. Besides being assisted by local black leaders, she called on the white community to help the school. Socially prominent white women took part in the school's activities, and white males, notably James N. Gamble of Procter & Gamble Manufacturing Company, were her greatest financial benefactors. By 1922, the school's enrollment had grown from 5 children to 300 girls, and a faculty and staff of about 25. Bethune also provided boys with adjunct classes and services. In 1923, she merged her school, by then called the Daytona Normal and Industrial Institute, with the Co-Educational Cookman Institute of Jacksonville, Florida, which was sponsored by the Methodist Episcopal Church. The purpose of the union was to develop the new institution into a junior college. The school, renamed Bethune Cookman College in 1929, earned its official junior college accreditation in 1935. And in 1943, it awarded its first Bachelor of Science degree in education as a senior college. By then, however, Bethune had turned the reins over to James A. Colson. From 1936 to 1943, she directed the Division of Minority Affairs at the National Youth Administration in Washington, D.C. And in 1942, after a serious illness, she resigned the presidency of the college. Later, she briefly took the president's chair again till 1947. When she left permanently, she was the only woman of her time who had founded a school for disadvantaged youth and built it into a senior college. To honor her efforts, the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, NAACP, awarded her its prestigious Springard Medal. in 1935. Leader of Black women's organizations. Bethune played a major role in developing the Black women's club movement, using her school to host star and regional meetings of club women. In 1917, she became president of the Florida Association of Colored Women. And in 1920, she established the Southeastern Association of Colored Women. From 1924 to 1928, Bethune served as president of the National Association of Colored Women, NACW, the most important Black women secular organization in the United States. She tried to pull together the loose groups within the association, especially by raising the funds to establish a national headquarters in Washington, D.C. In 1928, the NACW became the first all-Black organization permanently stationed in the nation's capital. However, Bethune eventually became frustrated with the NACW reluctance to centralize its efforts, and consequently, in December 1935 in New York City, she founded the National Council of Negro Women, NCNW, which she headed as president for the next 14 years. By the time she left office in 1949, this new umbrella organization included 22 national professional and occupational groups, the scattered work and independent programs of national organizations of Negro women. She wrote in the NCNW annual report of October 1941, needed the strength and the unity that unity could build. Had to slow that down so you can get the full interpretation of the words that I'm saying. Needed the strength and that unity could bring. Needed the strength, third time, that unity could bring. Under her leadership, the NCNW lobbied federal leaders on such issues as lynching, public housing, job discrimination, and social welfare programs. The NCNW's greatest success came when Bethune fought to gain equality for Black women in the armed forces during World War II. In 1942, her intervention with Army leaders helped to ensure that Blacks would be accepted in the newly created Women's Art Auxiliary Corps, WAAC. She also included Army officials to allow almost 10% of the places in the WAAC first officer candidate class to Black Americans. In 1945, she was appointed a special assistant to the Secretary of War to help select prospective female officers in the organization, by then renamed the Women's Army Corps, WAC. And this does conclude the first take. We're going to finish this up in the next take. We're going to finish up government official, and that's going to be the last take for this one. So stay tuned for the short conclusion of Mary McLeod Bethune, take 2, here on Poem Praise 2. So I certainly would like for you to like, share, comment. You can certainly go to my playlist and see other books that have been read here on Poem Praise 2 in a collection all of its own to start from the beginning to the end for the book. But until I speak with you again, it be it thy will. Certainly peace and blessings be upon you and your family this evening. So till next time, be well, be blessed, and later, y'all.